What's going on, guys? Today I got a special guest, Anthony Weston. Anthony, how you doing, my friend?
Man, I am excited to be here, dude.
I'm excited to have you on here. So I always like to start out these podcasts with what'd you do before and what got you into real estate?
Wow, how long we got?
We got a while.
So, long story short, I've always been in a commission field. So I started out selling cars. I wasn't real good at that. From there, I actually worked 11 years at Budweiser.
Okay.
So I was a truck driver, still commission based. But and you need to spoof it up a little bit. I'd always tell people I was a beverage relocation engineer.
I remember you telling
awesome.
me that a while back, and I thought it was the funniest thing. I love it.
But how I got into real estate, so I got let go of a job after 11 years, completely devastating. Didn't know what to do. And to make a really long story short, I had a new start. What do you do with it, you know? And so obviously my wife and I are praying about it, trying to figure out, you know, next steps. And we're at the dinner table one night just not knowing what to do. And she said, what is something that you would get up and go do right now? I'm like, help somebody. I don't know. And she's like, well, let's find something where you're helping somebody. I'm like, yeah, well, how do you get paid to do that? And as you would have it, my realtor I was using at the time called me the very next morning. He's like, hey, man, I want to see if you could grab some lunch. And I'm like, yeah, I'm actually free any day. And so we got to talking, and he's like, have you ever thought about real estate? And I'm like, no, sir. So you're helping someone with the biggest financial decision of their life. And I went to a team meeting, and the first words out of the team leader's mouth was, all right, guys, we're God Family Business. Does anyone have any prayer requests or praise reports? And that was really right up my alley. And so I looked at it as, hey, man, that's a sign. Let's pursue this, and have completely been blessed in it. So
That's awesome. How was it starting out? I know real estate can be tough starting out at first. How was that for you?
So I started in 2017.
Okay.
Market was doing really well then. So I got in at a very opportune time for a new agent. I joined the team immediately because I figured, hey, I can learn from them and do a lot more, or be involved in a lot more transactions than I would just by myself.
Yeah, speed up the process.
So I joined the team, and it was probably the best move I'd ever made. And actually closed 32 transactions my first year in real estate, which is a phenomenal number. And then as the years progressed, they were going in a different direction. I was really ready to be kicked out of the nest, so to speak. And so I talked to her, and she's like, listen, I think you're ready. Like, you can do this on your own. You don't need us.
Heck yeah, and that's when you kind of went out on your own.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you kind of grew up in the upstate area, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm originally from Woodruff.
Okay.
Born and raised, and never really left the upstate.
Do you think that gives you a slight edge in the real estate world?
Yeah. I think that when you have people who are born and raised here, they know a little bit more about certain areas just from experience. And I think there's advantages and disadvantages to both.
Yeah.
So
awesome. So what's a common mistake buyers or sellers make that you wish more people would know about?
waiting.
Yeah, waiting for interest rates to go down.
Yeah, waiting for interest rates to go down, waiting for the market to be better, waiting for the summer. There's no time like today, right? Why waste it?
Yeah.
So I think that in a lot of circumstances that cost people a lot of money that they don't realize, whether it be, hey, I'm going to wait for interest rates to go down. Okay, well, that's great. And when they do, you have a big influx of buyers that come into the market. Well, now we're not competing with interest rates. We're competing with other people.
Yeah.
And they can be a bear sometimes. And then same with sellers. It's like, well, we're going to wait. We're going to wait. Well, we could put your house on the market today, and there's only 6 other homes in the area, and we can absolutely make yours the top pick. And when we wait and more people come on the market. Well, now there's, the market's saturated with listings, and so you wind up with competing against 50 other homes.
Yeah, no, good point. So you talk about the real estate making the real estate process enjoyable. What's your secret to keeping things stress-free for your clients?
Communication, man.
Yeah.
So I think that clarity is power, right? So people sell their homes a handful of times in their life, and I do it every day, right? So I don't want to undermine or not be sensitive to what you got going on. Like, if it's important to you, I want it to be important to me, and we try to make that a priority at the AW Group. And so if I can walk you through each step, like, all right, here's what's next, here's the time frame that should take, here's what to expect during that, and if there's never a question, and there always will be some question that pops up, but if you know what's coming next, there's no surprises.
Yeah.
And it just makes it flow seamlessly.
That's awesome. So what trends are you kind of seeing in the upstate real estate market right now?
Well, with buyers, what you're seeing, of course, they're waiting, right? You're starting to see with sellers, they'll start trickling on as the market heats up, as the temperature heats up. Everybody wants to wait till springtime to get some fresh flower beds and do that sort of thing. Is that direction kind of where you were going with that?
Yeah.
But it's the same year over year. Now we're seeing, obviously, one thing that is very interesting is that the market has actually slowed down a good bit, right? So people, I think, initially were waiting on interest rates, and then they're waiting to see what happened with the election. Election years are always, volatile years. And then now that the election's been decided, now they're like, okay, well, what are interest rates going to do? Because last time, we had the president in office, interest rates were much lower.
Yeah.
So is that going to happen again?
275 or something like that. It got down to, right?
Oh, it was ridiculous. Yeah. So I think that, you're seeing a big slowdown there. But what's crazy about it is days on market, because of a slowdown, are going up.
Okay.
But the value, the purchase price is remaining the same. So that's interesting to see that, hey, look, values are holding strong, even though days on market are
going up
way higher.
There's definitely still a silver lining in there. And it's pretty good being in the upstate area. I feel like we're insulated more than other areas of the United States.
Incredible pocket in the U.S. where we've got, a lot of industry coming to our area. Not a lot of unemployment, but you still have a lot of new jobs coming to the area. People moving from out of state here because of every reason. I mean, the weather. We're mild summers, mild winters. Everything we have to offer. We're close to the coast. A few hours, drive. We're close to the mountains, and then the cost of living.
Yeah.
So why not?
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. So growing up in like the Spartanburg County area, what are some of your favorite hidden gems that some people might not know about in that area?
Oh man, so we enjoy eating out, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of great little hole in the wall restaurants that I could take you to. There's a lot of we camp a lot.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of and when I say camping, we don't tent camp. We're a little more glamping style. We take our fifth wheel a bunch of different places right around here.
Yeah.
But there's we love going up towards up Highway 14 into Table Rock area. A lot of little cool waterfalls you can show your kids. They can get in this ice cold water that you got in when you were a kid that your grandfather took you to, and he would take us to up there hiking every weekend. And as a kid, I hated it.
Yeah.
But now it's like, it's pretty cool to be able to do that, and I want to be able to afford some experiences for my kids, get them out of the house, off the video games.
100%.
But we enjoy the coast. We enjoy Allendale as a cool little town outside of Mount Pleasant towards the coast. But then there's a lot of cool places in the upstate.
Nice. I fish right past Allendale and McClellanville a lot. And I just love that area. It's like a Hallmark movie.
Yeah, for sure.
So if someone was new to the area, what would be the first place you'd recommend them visit? Kind of leading from the last question.
I think a huge staple of the upstate, obviously, is downtown Greenville. If especially where you're coming from. So that's really what I want to know. as a buyer clients coming in is, where are you from?
Yeah.
What are you used to? Because when, and why are you leaving? Because if it's, well, we're tired of city life, we want to be out in the country, I'll probably take them to the outskirts of Woodruff,
Yeah.
the Inman area,
Yeah.
beautiful mountain views, but
Tryon.
larger tracts of land. Yeah, Tryon, Landrum, Campobello.
Yeah.
In those areas. But if they're coming from out there and say, man, I really love city life, but it's just too busy. Well, let me take you to downtown Greenville.
Yeah.
How does this compare to what you're used to? What do you like? What do you not like? Because like it or hate it, it's a beautiful area and there's a lot to offer.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So I know, just knowing you personally, I know you're a big family man and you love spending time with your family. You're a great father, great husband. Tell me kind of how you balance that out in the crazy world of real estate, right? Like real estate has that big stigma across of it where you're always supposed to be available at all times, never, no days off. Tell me how you kind of balance that out.
So I had a guy tell me, Anthony, you need to be where your feet are. And that stuck with me. So, and what I mean by that is when I'm at work, I need to be at work, right?
Yeah.
So I don't work from home because that's where we cook. That's where I cut grass. That's where my kids are, or my wife is. And so I'm like, I'm going to the office for a reason. I'm there to work, right? And then when I get home after this, 5:30 mark, 6 o'clock mark, at that point, my real job starts.
Yeah.
Like I'm a husband, first off, right? I have to lead my family. And by doing so, I have to show my children that daddy, no matter what, daddy loves mommy, right? And she's my number one. And outside of that, like my kids find comfort in that, right? Yeah. And because I didn't grow up in a home where I had a mother and a father, right? My parents were divorced, and actually was adopted by my grandparents, and so I seen some normalcy there. But with work, that balance, I'll tell you a quick story, and it's kind of heart-wrenching. In 2020, we were building a home, my wife and I. We had moved into an apartment. She had just just after Christmas, we had found out that she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so she was going through chemo and the surgeries and the radiation. And here I am stressed out about building this home because I'm having to make a lot of decisions that normally I would say, you do that. This is your forte. Yeah. And I had 2 young children living in this apartment who we didn't know anybody in the apartment, so we didn't, typically didn't let them venture out too much. You want to keep an eye on them. Well, mommy was sick, daddy was always working, so I was coming home and I had to submit an offer and get it submitted because there was multiple offers in 2020, 2021. You had to get it submitted highest and best, and oh man, so I'm working and it's like 7 o'clock. I should have been done by then, right? And I'm trying to get this done. My son's like, hey, daddy. I'm like, hold on, just leave me alone. I got to get this done. And I didn't even speak to him coming to the door. I'm running in, getting it straight on the computer. Daddy. And I got frustrated. And I'm like, Carter, you got to give me a minute. Leave me alone. I got to get this done. And he said, I just wanted to ask a question. And I'm like, well, what is your question? And he paused, and I'm like, you don't even know what a question is. Like, leave me alone, dude. And he come back, so he's just standing behind me. And I don't like being somebody standing over him. I'm like, what do you need? And he said, how much do you make an hour? And I said, well, I don't get paid by the hour, I'm paid commission. Well, to a young kid, he's like, well, what is commission? I can't explain this to you. I got to go. I got to finish this. I have to. And he said, like, $5 an hour, $10 an hour. I said, $10 an hour. That's what I make. And so he leaves. I'm like, that was weird. Okay. So I'm waiting on these people to sign this document so I can get it sent over by this deadline that we're rapidly approaching. And he comes back in, and he's standing over me again. And I look at him, and he lays $10 in front of me from his piggy bank. And he said, when you get done, would you please play with me for an hour before the sun goes down? I'm staring at a playground.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a kid who ain't been outside all day. His mom's sick. And right there, I'm like, I broke down. I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
What am I doing with my life? What's important? And I quickly realized that real estate's not important to me.
100%.
My family is. And so real estate's just that avenue that can afford us to do some cool things, right? And to afford a lifestyle. But that lifestyle's not worth it without my children,
100%.
without my wife, without our health. And so right then I just decided, you know what? If I'm going to be a business, we're going to have business hours. Let's start there. Hired a coach, and he's a great mentor, and said, listen, you need to have business hours just like any other successful business. And outside of that, you need to lay the phone down, be a daddy, and be a husband, be a son. So I planted my heels in the ground, and that's what we're doing.
I love it. Yeah, because like you said, it means nothing without your family. So super
Right.
important to make sure that you're still spending time with the ones you love. What's a piece of advice you would give someone looking to buy and sell their home in today's market besides don't wait?
Hire the right agent. There's people out there everywhere, and there's a lot of great agents in Spartanburg, Greenville area. But I think that a lot of people with a bad experience paints a picture on everyone, and there's a lot of trust lost.
Yeah.
And so I think that if you can, research people and see not only their business but who they are, I enjoy doing life with people that are like me. Like when you go hang out with people, you hang out with people that have similar interests. Well, we're no different.
Yeah.
I may put on a suit and a tie one day, depending on who I'm going to see. I may put on blue jeans and boots because that's what I'm comfortable in, right? I think you have to be a chameleon and be able to appeal to a lot of people. But I think that for the buyer or the seller, just like pick out someone that you can spend a lot of time with, talk with, feel comfortable and trust for the next 90 days.
Yeah. That's super important. That's a great piece of advice. What's the best? So leading off of that, what's the best advice you've ever received, real estate or not?
So there was a guy who owned some stores in Lawrence that I used to service. His name was Ed McDaniels. He's passed a few years ago, and I always remember talking to him because I was at a job where I was miserable in my job, and maybe some of that had to do with me, not necessarily the business. Or maybe my surroundings, where I was in life. But I'd ask him, Ed, what do you, what kind of advice? He was a very decorated guy, had very, in today's standards, would be very successful with owning rentals and nursing homes and stores, and just great guy. And I asked him, what advice would you give to a guy like me? And he said, Anthony, what do you want? That's where I'm gonna start. What do you want? And I was like, I don't know, because in your 20s, like, you really don't know what you want.
Yeah.
You just don't want where you're at.
100%.
And he said, so do you want to be rich? And I'm like, no, I've never been a guy that grew up with a whole bunch of, excess money or anything. I said, no, I just want to be somewhere else, something different, comfortable. And he said, well, my advice I would give to you was to find something that you enjoy doing so much you'd almost do it for free. And that's really where the whole mindset started when I had lost my job.
Yeah.
Of where we started it laid the groundwork of what am I looking for?
Yeah.
And so I always think about that.
Nice. What's the most enjoyable part about real estate for you?
The people.
Yeah.
I love people, man.
Do you love like the first time home buyers, or do you love like just?
It doesn't matter to
Yeah.
me. Like, I think the joy you get out of seeing someone progress in their financial decisions to knock a home run,
Yeah.
or to for first-time home buyers, it's always enjoyable to see someone that you used to be, and they're able to solidify that deal and to get that, because man, home ownership is it's an amazing opportunity, right? And I think we overlook it a lot, but that's a big step for a first-time home buyer, right?
Yeah.
Or even for someone who's done it over and over and over again, and you're able to be a part of helping build their wealth, and to be able to all these great things that they can do with it.
Yeah.
And it's just enjoyable to hit that finish line. I think it is for anybody.
Yeah.
But I love people, man. All the new people you get to meet, the relationships that build out of that pour out of that, I think they mean more to you than anything else does.
That's awesome. What legacy do you hope to leave behind in both your personal and professional life? Like, what do you want to be remembered by?
So I've actually thought about this a lot. When you think about leaving a legacy, I think automatically you think about your children, what you leave them, from a monetary standpoint, but that's completely not it. Because one of the biggest influences, people had the biggest influence on me in my life was my grandfather. And he didn't leave us with a ton of wealth.
Yeah.
But it's experiences with him. And I can't remember anything, maybe one or two things that he bought me. But I remember when he was off on the weekend from the mill,
Yeah.
like we went fishing together, and he didn't go without me. And we would go to Jack and Joe's, is the little convenience store, hole in the wall convenience store, and we would get Slim Jim. I would get a Slim Jim and a tomato juice, and he would get sardines and a Pepsi. And it's the weirdest thing, like it's but we would just go catfish at ML's. It was a little paid pond. So I think about that, and I think that the biggest thing as far as legacy goes is if I can show you the love of Jesus, not in just my words, but in my life and the way I treat you, I think the way we treat people, they remember that forever. They don't remember things I said. They're not going to remember my kids or my wife. They won't. They will. They'll remember things I said. They might remember things I bought them, but it's actually loving them and loving them well.
Yeah.
And leading them to someone that will far surpass anything that I could ever do.
That's amazing.
So
I love it. I like to wrap these up with just like a 2 or 3 minute spill about somebody looking for a realtor, what would make you a great fit? I already know personally, but I'd like to hear it in your words. What would make you a great fit?
I'm a great fit for everybody, if you don't know. So, no, our team, man, we have a phenomenal team who's decorated, come from all walks of life. And what we do so well is just be a chameleon.
Yeah.
And I said that earlier, but I just think that we love to lead with humor, right? Because it's contagious. Yeah. I love being around funny people.
Absolutely.
And just people who are joyful. Like, we're not going to come up to you, I've had a bad day. Oh, it's terrible. And this, like, that ain't attractive.
No.
I don't want to be around that.
Yeah.
So I think just, we're great for everybody.
Being able to make a light of a hard situation.
Yeah, I mean, I always tell people, like, listen, there's 10 things that you have to do in real estate, and these are uber important, right? Number 1, hire the AW group.
Yep.
And we'll take care of the other 9, right? So that's just
I
it.
love it. Well, if they want to hire the AW group, how do they find you?
Listen, so they can look us up on our website. It's theawgroup.kw.com. We got a Facebook page, the AW Group. We have Instagram. You can call us on our office line at 864-529-6028. You can call or text me on my personal, 864-621-8082. Or you can talk to Chris Sweet if you know him, and he's going to be like, I'll get you in touch with that guy.
I got you. I'll get you in touch with AW. I love it, man. And I love giving out your personal number, too. There's a lot of realtors, you have to go through so many hoops to even get in contact with them. So,
well, I mean, the thing about it is there's a rhyme and a reason for all that.
100%.
But at the end of the day, if you need me,
yeah,
I got you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, you can't be bogged down with everything. You got people for that. That's what you pay them for. But, if there is a need to get in touch with you, you're available.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, pleasure having you on, man.
Man, I'm excited. I told you on the way here, I said, dude, I'm so stoked to be here, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here and sit in front of you and to do this.
Likewise, my friend. Awesome.